This the story of crypto blood and TruthBlitz. Ask them a cliff high what the truth is. They was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in a Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.
Part 2 with Nico Williams, CEO of Populous, starts now. Enjoy.
Also, a fixed charge over the assets of the company.
Have you guys projected and kind of written in your risk policies for default rates? Like, what are your default rates that you're projecting out the gate and all of that good stuff?
Okay, so basically, the idea is this: anyone who sign up on the platform will go through the three criteria we set: credit insurance, personal guarantee from the director, and also fix a floated charge. Should they default, we'll basically claim the funds owed on either the credit insurance in combination with the with the company's fixed charge, or basically the invoice seller risks losing their property, which is going to be substantially more higher than the cost of the invoice. So in terms of default rate, ideally we want to say it would be 0, but we're going to have some people that will fall into some situation or other. And
what is the industry average? If I don't know, I mean, I'm just kind of asking this off the whim, off the cuff. What is the industry average for default rates for invoice factoring? Do you know offhand?
I couldn't tell you now what it is for this year off the top of my head, but don't let me guess that. I do have seen it, but I don't know that off head at the moment. Okay.
Because that was one of the concerns that individuals had about them, you know, as far as protecting the I don't want to call them investors, but token holders. If they're lending out, if I'm correct, right, I can lend out my tokens. Kind of explain that whole process.
So basically, with PPT, you deposit your PPT you deposit PPT in the smart contract, and then you get an exchange of tokens. The whole process, the whole idea around that is with Bitcoin and Ethereum, in order to jump into something else or into another type of investment, in a sense, you'd have to liquidate what you have already or convert it to a different type of crypto. But whereas with PPT, you can still retain the ownership of PPT and receive a form of passive income in fiat currency or gold, in that sense. Whereas if that is on a rolling on a 30-day rolling basis, you won't have to liquidate your PPT. You can have that sort of residual income come in and pay for whatever expenses you have to pay in fiat, basically.
So is that? I mean, that's considered like a securities, then, right? Like,
no, it's not, because on the basis of it's actually utility and it's not a dividend. Is actually categorized into the smart contract. You're basically doing a trade. So basically, it's not, in a sense, a shareholding or a share in that sense. It's actually a utility token, because without the token itself, you can't trade invoices on the platform.
Okay, it's kind of like a loophole almost.
Well, there's always legal ways around things.
Yeah. Okay. I know here. I mean, I don't know exactly, but I know here, you know, that the chair of the SEC, he's making it seem like every ICO is a security, every token, that they haven't really released any official information or documentation on anything yet. So
what I can say is we go through a extensive lot of legal work with our QCs and barristers to make sure we do fall in line with regulation. And what people don't see about the whole Populous project is almost 50% of our resources, current resources, go to making sure that we can operate efficiently in the markets we choose to. And for that, on that reason alone, we tend to find that we are the first type of companies from the blockchain industry going into that. Therefore, we're creating a benchmark, and we have a unique IP in the sense of the legal structure that will be a way for other companies like ourselves, should they emerge, to move forward, basically.
So are you familiar with, like, there's been others? I think there's one that came out right around the time you launched your pre-ICO, Hive, which I think was I don't want to call it a scam, but there was an allegation that they ripped off your.
Are they still around?
I haven't heard anything about them. So who knows?
I wouldn't call anyone. I wouldn't say anyone's a scam or anything.
Yeah, right.
You only know that at the end.
Right.
No one knows, but I mean, everyone wants to try and do something successful in the industry.
Right.
I mean, I don't hold nothing against them. I mean, I've had a few conversations with the CEO. I've noted down that so there's some similarities in the documents that they produced and compared to mine. Would they have ever produced those documents if they never ever saw mine?
Mm-hmm.
And let's move away from that, and let's look forward to the future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I speak to a lot of fintech companies in the blockchain area about potential partnerships, and I also help them speak to other exchanges. One thing that I've learned as well is that the exchange issue is a major issue in terms of liquidity. So I want other companies to succeed. So my hand is open to passing on my contacts and getting other companies listed as quick as possible.
Right.
With Hive, I've got no issue with them. Do I think that they have? Do I think that they could be a viable competitor to Populous? I don't think so, because we've got XPRL, which is our IP, and no other company has. And that is our strong point.
Right. And Crypto Blood and I have both said this, that there's room in the space for more than one, especially in this, because there's so many invoice factoring companies already off the blockchain. So why can't it be the same thing with blockchain based companies? There's room for competition. There's enough business. It's a $3 trillion market. So,
there is enough room. I mean, same way I think as well. So
right.
I mean, I'm not against any company. It's quite interesting to see people realizing the potential of invoicing on the blockchain. I mean, I think our job is as the first movers, and with what we're bringing to the table to successfully deliver a product that would stand as a benchmark for other companies to come into the area or into the space. And that is my main focus.
Yeah, I think competition is excellent for business. It makes everyone sharper, and only the strong will survive. And if you have a strong team behind you, I think it only makes your company better when you have competition enter the marketplace. So it will happen. It's going to happen in all of these spaces. Because we're so early in the game, you have first movers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just part of the whole. That's part of business. So people that have an issue or concerned about other competitors, that's just part of the whole. The whole game.
What I don't like about the competition aspect in around this is the people that are holding other tokens on these other invoice finance platforms and directly attacking other platforms to create value in their holdings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think this is orchestrated by those other companies themselves, but
holders of the tokens.
Yeah, so
I've seen it.
I don't like it. I don't like about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. But my whole thing is, that only works up until you start, or that company starts to prove and show.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? If you have business, but a book of business, you're generating revenue. Maybe not in the black, but at least you're generating revenue. Hey, it's nothing they can say. You know, they can spread FUD all they want, but when you start showing and proving, that's when all the haters and FUD pushers will shut up. They have nothing. They have no leverage.
100% correct.
So I guess I kind of use that opportunity to kind of segue into all of the recent, we'll call it FUD. I mean, we use that word so openly in this space, but we'll call it FUD because that's what people are creating: fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah, I gotta get my cigar out for this one. This the part that everyone's waiting on.
I know a lot of people.
They're gonna fast forward.
So I guess what we'll start with is do you know who? Maybe, like you just said, that you've seen, it's a lot of the token holders of competition platforms. Do you think that's where most of it stemmed from, or do you think there might be something more nefarious?
Well, that's funny. I'm not going to mention names of anyone. That's not the kind of person I am.
Right.
I do keep a record of every conversation that I have with every person. But one interesting thing is that I was getting a lot of Twitter FUD from a particular individual. Couldn't work out what was going on, what was the hate of this guy, why he was so against me, and by mistake, I happened to one of the employees happened to send him a private Twitter message, and then I basically saw that. I saw a message saying from months back saying, "Thanks a lot, mate. I was the last person to get in the pre-ICO," and he had bought a ton of PPT. And from what he was actually saying is he sold his PPT, but he had basically sold it out around the height. So not only did this guy invest in PPT, he also sold out, making a substantial amount of money profit. And then afterwards, his attack started on me. So it made no sense to the reason why he was doing that. That's one person, for example. I've had people inside our Slack room that feel like they want to steer the ship. They want to steer the ship, and others that want me to release information out of large PPT holders and ask them why they're selling. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is a free market. Everyone can do what they want. So I mean, for my reasons of for confidentiality and not revealing information, I've had a group of people build up against me. Some people build up against me on the fact that they feel they know better. I mean, you're going to get that. I mean, if they know better, they can go and build their own platform. It's entirely
right.
But I mean,
So my question to you, Nico, is: do you see this type of FUD, proportional amounts of FUD, with other ICOs, with other companies that have come out, or do you see there being a large amount of FUD in your direction from the public towards Populous?
Okay, so so one thing that is funny is that I have a lot of people on my LinkedIn that are, like, I get them adding every day. These are bankers. These are high individuals in the financial industry. I mean, my LinkedIn is closed, but if I was to open it up, you see a lot of people from the financial or in high levels positions. I also get a lot of people. I think the FUD is not only directed against me; it's anyone that is coming with a threat in terms of a financial product on the blockchain. Verification is one as well. So I mean, I when I first looked at his model in the beginning, and I was like, on the sense of, okay, who's this guy? Okay, I was a bit skeptical. I looked and thought, in terms of, like, I've never heard of him before. Let me just do a little more research myself. I started watching. I started watching some of these clips from CNBC.
Yep.
I actually realized that, wait a minute, this guy Reggie, amongst 5 other stock pickers, smashed them to pieces.
Yep.
And I can see that no recognition. The credit is due.
Right.
I don't know, but I decided that okay, and in line, it's like a correlation of, okay, maybe that my background doesn't stand out as much as his own. Right. But I see that he gets almost the same amount or more FUD than myself.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense. So obviously, it is a form of haterism, if there's such a word, or it's organized in a way to stop him from himself from delivering the type of platform that he's delivering.
But I mean, you two, and my argument with that argument, or your stance on that, is that there are many companies out here that are disrupting fintech, the banks. You've got PayPal, you've got Debitum, you got all these other, and I'm just full disclosure, I own PayPal tokens, but I don't see the type of FUD coming at them. They're trying to do the same thing.
No, it's true. You're right. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, with all the FUD, it just makes us stronger. I mean, like I always say, we've been given funds to build a product. I mean, not that I asked for the amount of funds to be contributed.
Right.
People understood what is getting built, and out of that, we built two platforms: one in stealth and one openly. So I mean, people keep FUDing all they like, but Populous will be delivered. I mean, if it's to create the fear, uncertainty in the price of PPT, then that's up to them, and that's what they're doing. But if it's for us to feel like to break confidence in what we're actually doing or building, and that's never going to happen. So I mean, FUD only will affect.
Do you look at price? Is price a big issue, a big point for you as the CEO of Populous? Is that something that you really look at? And
I can't look at the price at the moment because the platform's not been delivered.
Right.
When it's live, then yeah, I'll pay attention to price. But I can't. It doesn't make logical sense to me to start valuing very accurate value of something when it's not live.
Right.
So I tell people in the Slack room, okay, I do feel a little concerned for those guys that are bought in at the height of things, and then the price drops. So I can understand their emotional mindset in terms of feeling a bit uncomfortable with their current holdings. But I mean, price is important to everyone to a certain extent, especially those guys that bought in a higher price than what it is currently today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've talked to I've talked to Crypto Blood about this, you know, and he said this to me numerous times, you know, like until the platform is launched and you have a working product, you know, the price right now really is kind of irrelevant.
It is. What I can say is, what we're going to see is when the platform goes live, we're going to see a scramble for people to buy PPT, especially those guys that feel that in the outside world, in the financial world, that they want to trade invoices that are secured, and there's only a limited supply, and they're going into this collateral contract. That is when we in the team start thinking about price in terms of how much we're collateralization and against what is in our liquidity pools.
Is price a concern, being as far as when I mean concern, after you guys launch, is price a concern to the upside? Like, is price a concern when it's too high? You know, are those factors that you're looking at, and how does that play into everything? Like, do you want your token to be sub $50, or is $1,000 PPT token okay? Can you still operate in that manner?
Yeah, we can operate anyway, but I mean the price is only going to go up anyway. But I mean, what I do most of my time as well, what I'm working more hard on, is around meeting and speaking to these guys that are basically want to contribute to the liquidity pool as well, in the form in a way that fits inside with the advice we have from our legal team, our barristers. So, I mean, in terms of the price rising high, we'd have to have the liquidity to match that as well, in a sense, 2 times over. And in terms of the price going low, it creates more opportunities for people to get in and use PPT to effectively as a utility token on the platform.
Well, so that's what I mean. Like, I can see if the price going up, there being some type of risk on your side from a liquidity standpoint, right? Wouldn't you almost have like a short squeeze or a margin call, if you want to call it, kind of situation where you need to raise more capital to sustain everything? How does that play into it?
Yeah, so I can't really disclose too much in terms of that, but I mean, we have a plan in place.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, we would like to fund the whole entire liquidity pool without no outside investors. So I mean, we have a plan in place. I mean, it's always been there from day one. But I don't really want to reveal too much in terms of the FUD. I mean, if it was a totally different situation in terms of whatever I say, then people start trying to pick it apart and just let with it. Then that's a different. I would easily come out with it and say, we do have a plan in place to address that issue.
Okay. So I mean, I kind of want to. I want to put the FUD to rest for you is what I want to do. You know what I mean? I think Crypto Blood agrees. I mean, I still believe in Populous. I haven't sold it. And there's a lot of people who feel the same, you know, and you know, basically the way I feel is, you know, somebody's past shouldn't define them. And, you know, people move forward, you know, things happen. I've, you know, had some, you know, a rough time in my past as well. So it is what it is. So I think that shouldn't define a man. And, you know, there was, I guess what I'll say is was it lies, or was there truth to the allegations that were being spread about you? So we could put it to rest, you know, right from your mouth.
Regarding what, Nick?
Regarding you know your past, there was people putting out tweets and information, and was it misinformation or?
Okay, so, yes, yeah. So basically, let me address it like this. So basically, when these questions started coming up on Twitter, I did seek advice from some people and said, okay, your conviction is spent, which I didn't for it, and you can deny it if you want. That's the decision of the law. So I thought about that, and I thought, okay, and in such a intense sort of period, I made the wrong decision to basically deny it when I should have just said, yeah, basically, yeah, it did happen, and long overdue. Yeah, no, it's true, actually. I mean, we do things in the past that we regret, but at the same time, it strengthens our future.
Exactly, I agree.
I was very curious. I was intrigued by data, and I mean, I used it I used it in a different way than I'm using it today. So I mean, I got to one extreme in one way, and today I'm pushing to another extreme using that data in two different directions. So yeah, there was truth in terms of what I was accused of doing, but I want to make it clear that that was just solely me, myself, and not my brother. Even though he was charged because he was my twin, but everything was dropped against him.
Okay. So I don't really care about past and how, I mean, I do to a certain extent, but many of us, especially growing up in an environment where you've got options that are limited. And I was talking to my wife about this many times, and I'm not saying your scenario, I'm just talking for me. Many times in inner cities, in what you call maybe over there the ghettos, you're only dealt with and you're only doing with what you have in front of you, and that's not much. Poor education, crime, drugs. So people do things many times. It's circumstantial. You know what I mean? You put that same person in that position that may have had a better lot in life, a silver spoon, and they would have done the same thing. So I don't really care too much about that. But when I heard about it, Nico, my concern was more so, how is this going to affect you professionally? I know in the financial realm, that can be a sticky situation with you garnering new partnerships and so on and so forth. So that was my concern when I heard the information. I'm like, is this really, does Nico need to step down? Is that something that he's willing to do if need be to make Populous go forward and be prosperous? So kind of give me your feedback on that.
Okay, so basically, if I'm one of the largest shareholders in PPT myself as well. Mm-hmm. So it's my interest to make sure that I create value, right, not just for the community, but also myself as well as a holder as well, and also anyone that wants to purchase PPT in the future. So with that said, my plan is, if need be, to basically step down once and only once I've delivered a successful live version of Populous.
Okay, good.
Not before that date.
Right.
I mean, the last thing that anyone wants is to feel some form of sense of hands up failure and say, no, it's not going to happen. No, that's not okay. Populous going to be delivered successfully. I mean, I understand everyone's concern. I mean, to create value and to make sure Populous is the best, yeah, that's the choice that I have made as well.
Okay, that's good to know that is an option for you. You're not like, ego tripping and like, I'm not going anywhere. So that's good to hear if that ever needs to happen, because again, like I said, my whole issue was, how is this going to affect him doing business in the financial world? I know there are many crooks in finance. I know a few of them. And, but again, they're kind of blackballed. And so that's why I was wondering if, that has to happen. Would that be an option for you?
Yeah, that's absolutely, I mean, yeah, that's an option. I mean, I will, yeah, I mean, but I mean, if that's in the best interest, then yeah, those plans are already being put in place as we speak. But I mean, yeah,
Okay.
That's good to know. There you have it, people. He is putting Populous ahead of himself, so that should put the FUD to rest. In my eyes, it does anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It should put minds at ease, because whether people have a genuine concern about the future of Populous, or if they're just going along with everyone else, because there's a lot of followers, and that's just the nature of people. So that should put, for me, it puts the question to rest, and it's good to know that you are putting the company and the platform ahead of yourself and your own ego, like he said. So
there were allegations shortly after, and I didn't know about this because I was unable to participate in the pre-ICO.
Me too.
But I was so pissed about that.
Me too.
There were allegations about after the ICO completed, there were a large sum of ETH, I believe, moved, and people were wondering what that was about. It's on the blockchain, and people had questions regarding that. What's the issue with that?
Yeah, so Ether and PPT was both the allegations. People were saying basically we're dumping our own PPT.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, that's one, and also the Ether. So basically, when I did the pre-ICO, I basically did it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So all by myself,
mm-hmm.
marketing, no one, just myself.
Nice.
I set up smart contracts. I set up the wallets where the funds go that went into. What the interesting thing is, a lot of people don't know what happened prior to the pre-ICO.
Okay, explain. Yeah, let people know.
So basically, the pre-ICO, the ICO was meant to occur on the platform in China. So I had already risen in the lock. They call it a lock, about $4 million already.
Mm-hmm.
So I got shut out of the groups that I were in, the WeChat groups, by a certain individual. And on the day when the ICO was meant to happen on that Chinese platform, I couldn't. I was no way going to allow it to go ahead, and people think that they can't get a hold of me because they're at the groups. So I got some contacts on those WeChat groups and told everyone to remove their funds now, that the certain person has locked me out of the group. Basically what the guy wanted to do was, and that was about $4 million. What the guy wanted to do was basically take my concept, my idea, and build it in China and use those funds. So I had a lot of people go to those ICO platform, and basically said, give us our money back. So with the situation in China, there was a restriction on how much they can withdraw back. But I got a call. Okay, so that was about a few hours before that ICO was going to happen in China, basically. So everyone started pulling their funds back, and I didn't go to sleep that night. I worked about 3-4 hours before the time was going to happen for that ICO in China. I made two decisions. I didn't make two decisions. There was either two choices I had. One was either to go to sleep and sleep it off, or stay awake and recreate the ICO site on my own website.
Wow.
So I took the later option, and I recreated it within about 3 hours. So I woke up from messages from my Chinese WeChat groups, basically saying, is it still on? So basically, I said, yeah, it's still on. So I had to basically run and go and create a MyEther wallet to put the address on for where the funds were going to come in. So what I did is I recreated everything and went to sleep without no contract address on there because I just weren't feeling secure enough. Prior to that, I had relationships. I mean, prior to that, I had a contract with a company called Token Market to develop my smart contracts. But before that even occurred, I already was meant to do it in basically China. So I now told Token Market to start making those contracts ready for me to deposit the funds into for the the Chinese ICO, because that was the date basically. So then when the hour struck, I started receiving the funds from those people that withdrew their money back, and those people that were still had confidence from China, and they started putting in. So it amounted to about 400,000 or 500,000 in the first couple of hours. So so from that whole aspect and from the whole situation of things, I now had people joining the Slack room, but then I started getting people posing to be other people, like my developers asking me to give them the private keys and things like that. So after this ICO anyway, basically, what I decided to do was, for security, I decided to split things up. What people must remember is, a lot of people, when you do an ICO, you like, for like example, Tracer and other companies like that, you get a lot of clever people, lawyers in a sense, saying, "Oh, come to this jurisdiction, we'll open this account for you, and you sell all your ether, and we deposit in this type of thing, and we manage it." So I've had people approach me like that, and I basically decided, no, I'm not going to go and liquidate all the ether at the price. It dropped significantly then to around 289. I'm not going to go and liquidate all the ether into fiat currency. I already told my community that I don't need to liquidate ether. I mean, at the time then, what was going on was a lot of ICOs were just liquidating ether. I mean, we had traded 100 million or whatever, and then they liquidated everything to build their own platform away from Ethereum. But I'm a strong supporter of Ethereum, so basically, hence why. So what I did is I split the funds into places where, if I ever did get hacked, I wouldn't lose everything in one go, because I couldn't sleep at night. So, and out the eye of prying people that are basically asking questions on a daily basis, how much money do you have, or this and that. I mean, the objective is to build the product successfully. I sold tokens for the sum of what they were. I'm the 100% shareholder. I have a accountant auditor that does the books and everything. And when that we disclose to whoever I need to, but not prompting my hand to raise tax issues that I'm not ready for yet, or I haven't put structures in place. So there is reasons behind actions that are happening. In terms of PBT, today on the 1st of March, I basically released some emails and spreadsheets of who those payments went to, or those PBT went to. So I mean, you can follow back on my Twitter feed. You will find that some of the people that received money from received PBT from the 1.7 million that was transferred in was our largest PBT holders that have never actually sold anyway, or any. And that was prior to the deal that I had set up before around the same time the Chinese ICO starting, and those guys that approached me before everyone basically knew about it. And the remaining addresses that basically people were basically saying that they were my addresses or somehow I'm selling tokens. You can go back on the Bitcoin talk forum and compare all those addresses to those people that are receiving, and you will find that those are all the bounty guys or anyone that their allocation was because basically what we have smart contracts that when you distribute them, they are in terms of 5, 10, and 15. Anyone that was promised a different deal had to get allocated manually.
Mm-hmm.
And that all ties up there. So I mean, we also have so that's that with that. We have strategic partners that we have contracts with and signed that are blockchain companies as well, that will work around our own payment systems as well. Once they're developed, they have existing technology as well, but they're on the blockchain. Some of them are ICO'd. Prior to them ICO'd, I've had conversations with them already. But I mean, there's certain functions that on their platforms that you're going to need to, they're utility tokens basically. So we prepare and plan ahead, as people will see. So I'll give you an example. In our wallet section, you will be able to withdraw your tokens to fiat via Casher. So that's an example of strategic partnerships that we put in place prior to doing what we're doing. There's insurance blockchains at the moment that are developing credit insurance that we are looking at in partnership as well. It's in our interest to build our own infrastructure and also invest the way we see fit to making sure that these guys basically build their product outwards as well. Mm-hmm. So I mean, those are, I think I've addressed areas in terms of what people are unclear or what they can't see.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But basically, all the evidence is there. I mean, the blockchain don't lie. We have. Should I need to reveal? I mean, I can always tip-X out people's names or whatever. But I mean, I have emails. I know who every single person is that bought PPT. I have emails. It's part of the way I set up the ICO in the first place myself. Mm-hmm. So all the information is there basically, and I've released some today. That should clear things up as well.
So one other question. This was from way back last year. There was you had a partnership with a Chinese company or potential partnership, and it was people were researching to see the address, and it was like a shell company and so forth and so on. Like what happened with that, and what was the whole issue around that? Could you clarify some of those?
Yeah, so I won't mention the guy's name, but he was the guy that basically locked me out of the groups. We had a contract. I had a contract with him. Basically, what he wanted me to do was allocate him a large portion of the funds for him to start developing the Chinese part of business. I said, I can't do that. I can't give you access to funds. Well, on the bank account, and then he basically, in a way, revoked the contract in a way, and basically said that because of certain ways the company was structured, we can't operate in China for government sort of regulation wise. Well, that was a blatant lie. And the guy lost out because if he had not basically, he basically lost out because look where we are now.
Right.
But there is no way on earth that I'm gonna allow someone to basically create something without me basically create something in my name without me basically seeing it or overseeing it or jointly on with them anyway. So that was that. That's where that FUD came from in terms of that.
And then having access to the funds on top of it. You know,
I mean, he was part of another ICO as well. So I mean, it's easy to find out who he was. And he left for the. I don't know if he. I mean, he's not with that project anymore. So I mean, what?
Wow.
He done. I think some people might be wanting to know about PXT. Don't know if that's come up. PXT is stand for Populous Explorer token.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, when we initially started building Populous, the idea was to feed the Explorer data, the data that is the algorithm that is extracted from the Explorer data into the Populous marketplace. Then we realized that wait a minute, there's a huge potential here of creating different types of oracles and leads for different types of market, because we don't only just cross financial data, we cross land registry data as well, which allows us to find and distress assets as well and properties. So what we're going to do, what we decided is that we would have another platform that people can pull this type of data into their own platforms, in a sense, creating oracles.
Okay.
And that is basically a little small description of what PXT is. So anyone who held PPT tokens over a certain period had these PXT tokens allocated to them.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, I have mine airdropped. Yep.
Yes,
I wasn't fully clear on that. I kind of knew, but it's actually thank you for bringing that up, because some people don't really know what that, or didn't know what that token is for. So I guess, you know, we'll just cover the roadmap. You know, what is you put out a tweet saying that you're going to announce the release of the platform coming up.
The date of the release. So
right.
What we know, what we've seen is that we get a lot in our Slack channel. We get a question from the members there. When moon?
Yeah. Hold up. You ready?
There it is. When Lambo, baby.
When Lambo.
Oh man.
So I mean, they've been strong supporters for. I mean, bearing in mind also what we're doing is quite remarkably fast in terms of what we're delivering and what we're building. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel any way on time that we've taken long to do what we're doing.
No, not at all.
I mean, I understand the PPT. I mean, the crypto community is different from any other type of different community. So it's our duty to clear the uncertainty and give a date of when we effectively think, after the security audit's been done, after the penetration testing's been done, after the security bounty has come to an end as well for the smart contracts, a date when we feel that the platform is ready to go live. And that is something that me and our CTO and our head of finance and the marketing team, in terms of around being able to get the first batch of marketing sent out for the invoice sellers, we believe that we now have a clear date that we can achieve a live platform.
So you'll be putting that out on Monday, correct?
The date, right?
Yeah.
The date on Monday, this coming Monday.
Date on Monday, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Good,
yeah, man. There have been people they were talking about you've missed a number of deadlines, and so I'm like, oh my god! Like, tell me one ICO that has hit their deadlines. I don't know any.
Basically, let me tell you what happened in that sense. So basically, everyone was on the assumption of okay, this is what you do when you're building product. You get a bunch of guys from the UK. They're going to sit in office with you. They're going to build your product. Okay, I decided that, yeah, I'm going to do that. And what I did was I got a back-end developer, senior back-end developer, and a front end, and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build this product. I'm going to focus my time more on the legal side of things and around the XBRL side of things,
right,
while you build the smart contract side and the marketplace around that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will join you in the middle and connect the bridge. So through development up until the deadline date, or about a month before the deadline date, I've asked these guys, are we still on track? Yeah, we're on track. Okay. Then one day basically they turn around and say one of them turns around, developer, and goes, oh, I've been offered a job elsewhere.
Yeah.
Needs more money. I said, okay, no worries. I'll double your salary. Fine. Okay. He said, okay, I'll stay. So, okay, then. A few days later,
doubled his salary.
I had to double his salary if it's because of money. And
I mean, I don't know how it is in UK, but I employ programmers here. They're not cheap. Oh, he's free, but they're not cheap.
No, he's in UK. So basically, I said, okay, I've given in to his request. He didn't ask for it, but I said, okay, that's when you stay, then stay. Then he turns around and goes, oh, can we get a project manager? And I went, what do you mean project? So instantly I had alarm bells raising in my head. Let me just start finding out, because I have another development team developing the XBRL side. And I just said, I want to make sure that this product is pure quality as well. So I took the decision to basically just kind of, in a sense, project manage the other side, allow this guy with high credentials to do what he's doing on this side without my interference. So when he just said he needs a project manager, it didn't make sense to me. Like, you're the guy project managing this job. Why do you need someone to project manage you? So I thought, no problem. Let me just get someone. And that's where I found Wisdom. So when I drafted Wisdom's turned around to me and said, okay, I've had a chat with the lead backend, and he said he's out by at least 3 months. And I said, what? 3 months? We're going to market in the next week. So basically what we had to do was, I had to tell these guys, I didn't want to tell them to step down immediately because they're carrying a lot of the logic around them and the functionality, and I have to change this password, that password, lock them out of this or that. So basically, I wind it down little by little, but at the same time, put the emphasis on Wisdom that we need to deliver this product in a month, and that's what we told the community. So I said, okay. The days were approached to that day. Some time passed after that. But I mean, that, and then eventually we are here now. But I mean, that was the reason why. So it wasn't just me saying, oh, that's a date there. And then
right.
Then it came and I was, okay, well, I'm going to give you another date.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I actually thought that we were going to deliver earlier than that date.
Mm-hmm. And that's normal, man. That's normal. This is what happens in businesses, and especially when you're developing software. There's a lot of moving parts, and
yeah, a lot of people don't understand that we're building around a system that has to be secure, because I mean, it's people's PPT that are going into it.
Right.
If it's secure enough, people will lose their PPT.
Right.
And that's not going to happen. And no one's going to rush me to deliver something that is not going to be safe, because it's not just it holds all of our crypto inside as well, so including mine. So it has to be as secure as possible for the whole, and it's a financial product as well. So I mean, in that sense, like we will only release the platform live when we feel that it is secure. 110%.
Absolutely. That makes perfectly good sense, man. And I think that's you guys, man, the owners, the founders of these ICOs are up against so much pressure. It's a peculiar situation because you have a lot of them are amateur investors. They don't understand business cycles. They don't understand XYZ. And they're just bombarding you with these requests, and just it's amazing that you don't go off, because I would be going off on these people.
No, I mean, we've got about 2,000 wider community. I mean, what a lot of people don't see on the outside, looking from the outside, is that I try to speak at least once every 2 days with the community on the Slack channel from the very beginning. I've been doing that. I mean, I understood, like, in normal business world, you get annual general meetings, and that's the only time when you can ask your questions.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly.
I've now decided to take the task also on, or the way I communicate with those guys in Twitter. I'll do that on, in the Slack channel. I'll also do that on Twitter as well. I mean,
so speaking to that point, someone asked me about PR, and they were wondering, do you have someone, or are you looking to hire a PR firm to help take your attention away from that? I guess they had some issues or concerns about how you were responding to people in some instances regarding Populous. Is that something that you've thought about, having a PR firm kind of handle that?
Yeah, so for the actual official Populous channel, for Big Populous Twitter channel, or external official channels, social media channels, then yeah, we have an in-house marketing team that I've started recently to deal with that. As you can see, there's been some changes. For my own personal Twitter handle, I mean, I'm not no celebrity, so I don't see why that tweet from my own Twitter account. But I do bear in mind that I've learned not to be too hot-headed with tackling or directly talking back to the people that are basically trolling. So that is something that people around me as well tell me, don't respond to them, don't say give them that. So I understand that as well. I mean, at the beginning, I was all guns blazing. Mm-hmm. I didn't care. I was just like, yeah. I mean, I never insulted anyone, but I felt to. But I mean, but I just kind of held back, and now I will hold back, because I mean, there's a distraction.
Right. Right.
We did initially hire a PR team, and traditional PR is different from crypto PR.
Correct.
You've got to have the PR team in the crypto space has got to be aware of the engagement with your supporters, because they're very intense. So they will ask questions when they want to ask questions and expect answers immediately. So what the solution to that is, we'll build around that our own PR team and basically tackle that the way we see fit. It's a growing industry, blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin, and until these traditional PRs get up to date with what they need to deliver to the crypto community, then I believe every other ICO company or have to build this within, basically.
Okay, cool. So it's pertaining to the roadmap as well. Kind of give us some sneak peeks at, I'm not asking for any particular companies, but do you have deals inked, ready to go with companies or anything to that point?
Okay, so we get approached daily for companies who want to put their invoices on daily. I mean, let me point one thing about one company we did sign, which was Lux Global Citizens. Mm-hmm. Now the guy there is my friend. Mm-hmm. Was my friend. And basically, that's what I know. And basically, to me, he seems like a very successful guy. He has all the trappings of success. And we were introduced by a mutual friend of mine, Tom Sellers. He's a Michelin star chef. Mm-hmm. He has 2 Michelin stars. And he put us together and said, this guy has got a business, whereas if you can get him to put your invoices on, then that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, fair enough. It's not part of my plan in terms of using Explorer data, but it's a sweetener. And basically, me pursuing that led to a lot of FUD around his company and people basically saying, how do you know he's got this amount of invoices? So the answer to your question is we have some things in the pipeline, but I don't really want to reveal it because, like I discussed at the beginning of the interview, that as soon as I say something, a load of people start going and chasing these people and start contacting them, and then it makes those guys think like, what's going on here? They get overwhelmed with phone calls, and so I just realized that when it's live, there'll be invoices on the platform.
Gotcha. Where do you see Populous in late 2000, like Q4 of 2018, going into 2019? Like, what, as the CEO, as the person, as the captain that's heading the ship, what are your plans? What do you want to see as far as goals being met, and things of that nature? So, kind of give us your vision for 2018 and then going into 19.
If I'm still there as CEO, then
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I haven't stepped down by then, but I hope by the end of 2018 we've opened different marketplaces on the platform. So not just invoices,
Nice.
but different marketplaces, but with the same sort of timeline as the 30-day turnover period in terms of funds coming back in to reward those PPT holders for collateralizing the PPT in a sense.
Have you thought about doing any B2B partnerships? Like, I'm a small business owner. I use FreshBooks out of Canada, and they've got partnerships with different invoice factoring type of companies. I'm sure you heard of like Fundbox and companies of that nature. Is that an option for you guys? Are you looking to possibly do some like partnerships in that manner?
Yep. So we're most of all our technology is designed around to open up, to be more open source, to allow a form of API so anyone can interact with the platform.
Nice.
And push their business through as well. So I'm currently speaking with a guy via email about he's got he's not on the blockchain, but he's in a way created a market for the commodities food market, and he wants to push some invoices through. I mean, these are still early stages, but I mean, there's quite a lot of companies that have approached us with their technology, including accountancy firms, to accounting sort of software to integrate into the platform. I mean, I'm open to everything,
Right.
As long as it's going to create the Populous PPT holder value and not the other way around.
Right.
Also, I want to give thanks to Cliff as well. I mean, when this whole issue came out around my previous convictions, he still stood behind me as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, we did see a large sell-off of some people that lost confidence, but Cliff sent me a message basically saying, no way does this will affect you, but address the issue as well. Mm-hmm. I think what he hears and what he sees still remains the same as well. So I mean, Cliff has access to the GitHub from day one. Mm-hmm. So see what we're developing from day one. So I mean, that's that. But I mean, basically, I don't know how the whole project would have evolved with how he's basically support. So that's a big thank you there. And that's quite important because there's people who stereotype people in life, and basically Cliff is a clear example of what people think is totally the opposite.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So talk to that though. Did Cliff How much do you think the WebBot helped in you raising funds or selling out so quickly with the pre-ICO? Do you think that had a large influence?
I mean, remember we had the 4 million that we raised in China already, but I mean at the same time, the Chinese audience don't hear from Cliff as much as the Western side does or the Asian side does. So basically, saying in terms of he basically did. I mean, funds initially came in, but then there was a slowdown from the Chinese inflow to a large increase over 4 or 5 days, and I basically say that was down to the WebBot, basically Cliff's report, basically, which I had not seen at the time. I had a lot of funds coming in, and people started basically saying, I just didn't know what was going on. I mean, I made a few contracts with people for around marketing that I wish I didn't then at the time because I didn't know how things would work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to plan differently otherwise. And yeah, so I mean, I would say the majority of the contributions came from Cliff supporters and listeners. And yeah, I mean, yeah, so he plays a very vital part in the success of Populous. And just to make it clear, he's never asked me for anything, and I don't really speak to him. But yeah, so for a guy like that, that's like thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. Did you know of Cliff before that? And not really, huh?
Never heard of him. But,
yeah.
I do now. I do now.
Well, there you have it, people, man. I just want to say, Nico, we appreciate you coming on. Much success to you and the company in 2018. I think you answered quite a bit of the FUD surrounding Populous. Yeah. And we greatly appreciate your time for that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Block Party Podcast. This is episode number 6. It's your boy Crypto Blood
and TruthBlitz,
and we are out. Holla.